Hey, what's going on guys, it's Sarge, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Excalibur, one of the best warframes in the game and one of the most common frames in the game. So drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, and let's get started. Now, acquiring Excalibur is pretty easy. You just need to fight the boss on Pluto, which is really simple. The stats on Excalibur are pretty average as well, with 300 health and 300 shields at max, with a 225 armor and 150 energy. He has a base sprint speed of 1, and he has a D and V polarity slot in his arsenal. So he is pretty average compared to a lot of other warframes that came out after him. Now, for his first ability, Slash Dash, this is a pretty basic ability that you would learn early on if you actually select him as your main warframe in the beginning of the game. You will learn how to use this ability, and what it does is it actually dashes towards a target and actually damages them. So this is affected by power strength, so how much damage you actually do, and the amount of damage on your actual melee weapon, which is something special about him, is the fact that his abilities sometimes are affected by the amount of damage, speed, and crit on your actual melee weapons. So depending on which one you use, from a slow hitting high damage to a fast hitting low damage, this can affect the way some of your abilities actually work, which is kind of interesting because not many frames actually do this. Now, his second ability is Radio Blind. This will blind enemies in a small radius around you depending on how much range you actually put on it and how long you actually put the duration as. They'll stay stunned for a while, and you're able to use finisher moves on them to actually kill them. Now, his third ability, which interesting enough was actually his fourth ability a long time ago when this slot was taken up by Super Jump, but now it's replaced with Radio Javelin, when now it's been extremely nerfed compared to what it used to be, but it's still a really good ability. Being able to slam the ground with your sword and damaging enemies all around you with high impact and impaling enemies onto walls, this ability used to be really good, and it still is in some ways. Now, his last ability, which is his most popular ability after his rework, which is Exalted Blade. Exalted Blade summons its own version of the Skana using energy, and while the ability is active, you will be draining energy depending on how much efficiency you have on Excalibur, and this also is affected by your actual sword. So if you have a fast hitting sword, it will swing really fast, or if you have a high damage sword, it will do a lot of damage. So being able to find a nice sword that does a lot of damage with fast speed can make this ability much stronger than it normally is. Now, this is affected by duration, range, and the amount of damage you do with power strength and with your weapon, so this could be a really good or bad ability depending on how you make it. Now, as for my build for him, I use an Exalted Blade build because that's the most powerful of his abilities. I go with a Steel Charge to increase the amount of melee damage I actually do, further increasing the amount of damage Exalted Blade does. I have a Vitality to keep my survivability high. I have a Rage mod in case when I do take damage I'll get more energy back, being able to use Exalted Blade more. I have Transient Fortitude to increase the power strength even further, with an Intensify to increase it even further as well. I have a Prime Flow, so I'm able to hold as much energy as possible so that I can actually use the ability for a long period of time. I combine Fleeting Expertise with Streamline, so I'm able to get as much efficiency, being able to have 1 energy per second use out of Exalted Blade. And I also use the Stretch mod. Being able to use Radio Blind while you're using the Exalted Blade is really useful because it does have it built in when you do a slide attack. Being able to hit more enemies with it and then wiping them out in a few seconds is really good. Now, as what I think for Excalibur, he is one of the best warframes in this game. He is very balanced when it comes to who he is, and if you really want someone that doesn't have really a negative to him, Excalibur is the best frame to go with. So that'll be the video for today, guys. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay frosty.